California. Ashley, your thoughts on the defendant waiving his right to appear. This is very hard. No one wants to be in a courtroom after you've been convicted and have victim family members address you in the court. What are your overall thoughts on that being his right in the state of Georgia and taking away from, I guess, the victim's ability to confront?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's a hard one, right? I mean, I obviously have no personal tie to this case, but just watching the sentencing has had me tearing up multiple times. So it's a really hard sentencing to watch. And of course, it is so difficult that he isn't there for the individuals who are impacted by this crime. Now, as you mentioned, though, he has a right at least to ask to not be there, and the judge did grant it. And the thing about this case that makes it so hard is that there are a lot of mental health implications going on in the case, right? He was incompetent to stand trial for a period. There are some very serious mental health diagnoses that are, part of the record. And so the granting of this by the judge might have taken that into account. Of course, it looks, and I'm sure feels to the individuals providing their statements, very callous that he's not there, that he doesn't want to hear it, that he doesn't want to see this suffering, but there's a lot more at play. And so it's a matter of, even as emotions rise, and I don't think anybody can watch this sentencing and not feel emotions rise in them, there are other factors, other circumstances that impact it. And if you watched the verdict, it was the emotional response from the gallery that really had Mr. Lands reacting emotionally, right? You saw him shed that tear, and perhaps there's something about how he would be able to react or contain himself given the mental health struggles he has in the face of such intense emotion. So there are absolutely arguments to be made that not being there so that he doesn't react in an inappropriate way would be the kinder thing to do. But I can only imagine how difficult it is for all of these victim statements to not have him there.
Yeah, it's a good point. And one of the themes from many of the speakers has been this difficulty of grasping how and why, and the ability, and I guess you think about when you're watching something like this, all the trials, you as an individual in your life experience, you kind of look at the defendant and you look at the things that happened and you say, well, I guess if I was pushed that far and I was this, I could see how this person did X, Y, and Z. I mean, a burglary, it went wrong. It all kind of makes sense. Oh, you would never do it, you think to yourself, but it makes sense. This doesn't. And this does, because this mental health that this individual was dealing with, what was he resisting or not resisting? What control did he have or not going to have? And it's a hard thing to get your head around in terms of how this happened. And we're seeing that play out. And it adds, I would argue, an extra level of pain for these people because there's no answer.
Absolutely. You have an individual who is suffering from very serious mental health issues, and all of the explanations of why this happened he thought that they had been, interacting in some inappropriate way to his brother who, had died previously. There were the comments that he made to his parents regarding demons or, people coming after him. And so you have this situation where the victims in this case had nothing to do with why this happened, but, to Mr. Lands, perhaps there was just an entirely different experience. And so it is so hard, and it does feel so pointless, as so many of these victim statements have, because it wasn't based in the reality of what this couple and their son were actually doing. Right. But it was the experience that Mr. Lands was having. And that doesn't excuse this at all. But it makes it so much harder because it becomes more than just he did it for fun, right? This wasn't a sadistic act. It was something made sense to him that he had to do, and that almost makes it scarier.
Yeah, it sure does, because it could have happened to anybody, to being in that house at that time with this taking place. Stand by. Actually, we're going to get a break. When we come back, we'll have more from the coworkers, but also you see the clock has stopped in the case against Walker in Florida. 37 minutes. Wow. This is a record low, getting close to a record. It's only 37 minutes it took a jury to deliberate the fate. We have a verdict. We'll have that when we return. Stay with us.